Today we were talking about how to exercise when you have hypermobility. And if you're watching this in real time, come join me in my Unlimited Community June 2024, when our entire theme will be about hypermobility. We'll have live workshops and workouts specifically for people with hypermobility. The link to sign up is below. Today we are talking about one of my favorite things, which is hypermobility. Now, I have many resources for those of you with hypermobility, including full podcast episodes, how anxiety relates to hypermobility, and workouts for hypermobility. So I'll have those links below. But today specifically, we are talking about how to exercise when you have hypermobility. The first thing that I want to point out is that hypermobility is a spectrum, meaning you can fall anywhere on that spectrum and have some hypermobility. So Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is at one end of the spectrum, and that would be a condition that's diagnosed. And then you can also have hypermobility somewhere in the middle or have very little that it affects you sometimes. So I'm going to talk today about how to exercise in general when you do have hypermobility, but keep in mind that your symptoms could vary depending where you fall on that spectrum. So you always want to listen to your body and find out what's right for you. But what I really want is for you to feel encouraged and to know that there are definitely ways to exercise when you have hypermobility. And it is something that is encouraged. Exercising a certain way can actually really help your hypermobility symptoms. So let's get into it. Hypermobility is a condition that affects our joints. It means that we have too much motion or too much range of motion in the joint itself. It actually doesn't relate to the muscles necessarily. It causes too much range of motion in the joints. And so I like to point that out because many people say, oh, I actually have tight muscles. I have tight hamstrings. There's no way I'm hypermobile. I'm not that flexible. Well, actually, you could be hypermobile because it affects the joints themselves. And sometimes then will affect the muscles as well. But things that you might feel if you have hypermobility would be, again, kind of that extra motion in the joints. If you've ever been called double jointed, that's just a word people will use, but that could mean you have hypermobility. A lot of times symptoms will feel our achiness in our joints and our muscles. We might feel like we can't work out as hard as someone next to us. We might feel soreness, like excessive soreness for many days after a workout. And then there are other things, like I mentioned, such as anxiety that actually plays a role with hypermobility. So let's talk about how exercise can affect it. So a big thing to remember is that exercise and movement can actually really help hypermobility. So I want you to move. I want you to exercise. The key is finding exercise modalities and movements that work for you and your body. The things that you want to be aware of are: one, energy conservation. So when you have hypermobility, you won't necessarily be able to go full on, all out, all of those times. So those HIIT workouts that you might see someone else doing, or those gyms that really do a ton of sprints and a ton of all out HIIT kind of Tabata things, those might be too much to do all of the time. So again, don't feel like it's your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Your body just isn't going to be able to do that kind of energy output all of the time. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is you want to find workouts that help you conserve your energy. Another thing to keep in mind with hypermobility is you may want to avoid deep stretching. So you might find that deep stretching sounds really good because, like I said, you actually might have tight muscles, because what happens is our joints become very loose. So the muscles around it tighten because they're trying to protect you from that, like, too much motion. They're trying to tighten up. So you will stretch and stretch and stretch, but you never quite feel like you stretch enough, right? Like it doesn't help. You're not going deep enough. So you go deeper, but it actually causes more pain because your joints don't want any more stretching. So I want you to avoid deep stretching. Instead, what I want you to do is possibly some foam rolling, maybe some massage. But most importantly, from an exercise standpoint, I want you to work on mobility. Mobility is when we strengthen a joint through its full range of motion. So we're moving the joint and strengthening at the same time. And it is key when you have hypermobility to include mobility work in your thoracic spine and in your hips especially, and your shoulders. I have workouts for all of those. I'll put the links below, but those mobility workouts are really, really important. So you want to focus on that and avoid the really deep stretching types of exercises. Another thing that I want you to focus on if you have hypermobility is lifting weights. Research shows us, we know from scientific research over and over again, lifting weights is one of the best things that you can do for hypermobility. And I don't mean, again, Olympic weightlifting, okay? You don't have to go and lift the heaviest weights you see. But I need you lifting some weights 2 to 3 times a week. What it does is it actually helps your joints, all right? So it's gonna strengthen your muscles, we know that, which then will help protect the joints, but it also helps work all the important things around your joints, joint receptors, the tendons, all of those things. We want those protected and strengthened. It will help with that. Also, this is so interesting to me. Lifting weights when you have hypermobility is almost like putting a weighted blanket on. If you've ever used a weighted blanket, they really help calm the nervous system. The weights do the same thing. It actually helps calm your body down. If you're feeling that anxiety that can come with hypermobility, or if you're feeling just very much pulled in all directions, literally, the weights can help bring you back to center. It helps strengthen you in a very safe range of motion. So I want you to start with whatever is right for you. If you've never lifted a dumbbell before, maybe 3 or 5 pounds is where you start. If you're gonna have that background, go to 8 to 10 pounds. And eventually, I want all of you to work to 10 pounds or even 12 pounds or even 15 pounds. Lifting a grocery bag alone is 10 pounds. So we wanna get you functional, but please keep in mind that using weights, adding hand weights and dumbbells is such an important way to feel strong and to help manage that hypermobility. Another piece that's really important is Pilates. Pilates is really great for people with hypermobility because we don't go into those full deep stretches, so it will protect your body, but we strengthen you in the range of motion you have. So it's gonna help strengthen your shoulders and your core and your hips. It helps put all of that together so your body understands a little more how to move in space. It will help your balance, and it gives you closed chain, meaning we're gonna put weight through your arms, we're gonna put weight through your legs. Again, things that can be really important to help protect the joints. And then the final piece that I think is really important for exercise is walking. As I mentioned, sometimes with hypermobility, we can have issues conserving our energy. So going really hard, really fast all the time can be a lot for our bodies. So I have found, because I do have hypermobility, that walking is one of my best friends. So I can do a hard cardio workout about once a week. If I do more than that, it's gonna be a lot for my body. So I walk every single day, and that has helped so much. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me get into my body. It helps me take deep breaths. It helps in so many ways. So to summarize how we kind of create that exercise plan for folks with hypermobility, we want to be lifting weights 2 to 3 times a week, okay? So your workout is going to include either dumbbells or a barbell or a resistance band. You can do all of that at home, but make sure you're adding weights 2 to 3 times a week. You want to be doing Pilates 1 or 2 times a week to help you really kind of understand your body and what's going on and feel that core strength. You want to avoid really deep stretching and instead add some mobility work, and then walk. Walk every day if you can. And that is the workout schedule that I follow for myself, that I find really helps me conserve my energy not get too sore, but continue to build strength. You can absolutely get stronger when you have hypermobility. I have, and when I started incorporating these pieces and avoiding the things that were making me really sore, meaning I couldn't work out for a week because I was so sore, when I started incorporating these things, my strength improved exponentially because I was working within what my body could do. All of those pieces really fell into place, and it helps me feel more empowered in my body. And so in Unlimited, when we create these workout schedules for our members, it includes all of these pieces. So again, it helps kind of take all the confusion out of choosing the right workouts, and you can fit those puzzle pieces in so that you can continue to feel stronger. I hope that helps give you a little bit of guidance as you navigate this world of hypermobility. Again, check out all of my links and resources below. They'll help give you more information, and I'll see you soon.